Hello everybody, thanks for joining me today. I am back photographing birds in my backyard. It is snowing outside again, it's beautiful out, and this time I'm going to try something a little bit different. So last time I was photographing birds in the snow, I used my photo blind. But this time I'm going to try to keep things a little bit more simple for you and just kind of really show you what you can do with just simple materials. You don't need to go out and buy a photo blind. I am right now just sitting in the back of my house facing my feeders. I've got the window open. It's a ghillie blanket hanging from the window just to kind of conceal my presence behind in the window. But you can just use a regular sheet, a blanket, hang something just so you don't give away your position in the window, and the birds will come and just act natural outside on the feeders. Right now I'm about 10 feet away from my feeders. I have different branches, different sticks set up. I did this a while ago, so they're used to it, they're using it. They perch on the branches, the feeders are right there, and I put some seed on the ground, so there's a lot of ground feeding birds, a lot of juncos, a lot of sparrows. And my plan is to just kind of sit here and photograph these birds as they come to the feeders. Oh, I've got a red-bellied woodpecker right now. Let's see if we can get this guy. Alright, the red-bellied flew off. But I am hopeful that I'll get a different variety of birds here this time than last time. There was a small group of cardinals. There was actually 2 males, 2 females, which is really nice. There's some blue jays this time. I have white-throated, house sparrows, white-throated and house sparrows. There was some house finches. I got the starlings. I have grackles and some woodpeckers this time, which is really nice. And I also hear a Carolina wren singing. And there was some crows actually perched up in the tree as well. So I'm hoping they'll come down. That'd be really awesome to get a crow in the snow. But we're just gonna see. I've got the juncos, tufted titmice. It's a lot out, so that's really exciting. My plan is to actually stay inside for a few minutes, see what I can get from this location, and then I'm gonna head outside. And when I go outside, I am just gonna be out there sitting still, sitting quietly, and seeing what I can get without the use of a blind. That way, if you're watching this, you don't have a photo blind, you might not have a good window to sit at. You'll be amazed what you can get if you just go outside near a feeder, set yourself up, and just sit there quietly and still, and the birds will still come. And that's hopefully what I'm going to show you today. So let's do some photography out the back window, and then we'll move outside. Even though I have myself covered with the ghillie blanket, you still have to do slow and calm movements because your lens is sticking out the window and the birds can see that and get scared really quickly. One thing you have to make sure of when you're photographing out your back window or any window in your house is going to be a lot warmer than the outside temperature, especially for right now. So it's like, I believe it's about 15 degrees outside right now. So you have this mixture of air right around the window where the cold air is coming in with the hot air of the house. So you're going to get a lot of heat distortion in that air movement as the air is kind of mixing together. So you want to make sure your lens is far enough out the window so that this heat distortion is actually behind the lens and not in front of the lens element. If you're photographing the birds and my lens, edge of my lens is all the way back here by the window, you're going to have all of this heat distortion because you're going to have the hot air mixing with the cold air in front of you, and you're going to wonder why you're not getting sharp pictures, and that's going to account for a lot of the issues you're going to get. So if your lens is far enough out the window, that's going to eliminate a lot of that problem. Another tip you can do is if you have a lens hood on, I have my 600mm, it's got a really big lens hood. So what you can do is before or as you're sticking your lens out the window, I actually take my lens hood off and put it on once the lens is outside the window. Because there's going to be a lot of warm air stuck within your lens hood, and it's going to create a really turbulent air environment that's going to distort the images as well. So if you put your lens out without the lens hood on, and then you place your lens hood back on once your lens is out the window, that's going to mean that there's going to be cold air in the lens hood. It's going to be the same temperature as the air around it, and it's going to eliminate some of that warp effect in the air. Alright, I've been inside now for about half hour, 45 minutes. I've gotten, I think, just about what I'm going to get from inside. There's not that many birds that are actually perching on the sticks that I have, and I really wish I used some smaller sticks for my perches. But this was just the branches that came down and I just attached them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move outside now. I'm going to go outside. I'm actually going to go out, put some more seed out, because as I go out I'm going to scare all the birds away. But at least if I put some more seed out on the ground, they're going to probably come right back because it's supposed to be snowing all day. The birds are hungry, they know that, so they're just going to come right back. So that's my plan, and I'm going to go out and just kind of be out there without a blind, sitting, waiting, and we're going to see what we can get without the use of any fancy hides or anything like that. Alright, hello everybody, I'm back outside now, and I'm actually going to put out some new bird seed since I scared all the birds away getting outside. But they're all just still sitting up in the trees, so they haven't gone anywhere. So it's also important to kind of have a good variety of seed. So I use a mixture of wild bird seed. It's got sunflowers, corn, a bunch of other seeds in it. But then I also put out some mealworm. It's a great food source for birds. Freeze dried. You can get it pretty much any food store, bird food store, online. You can get a big bag of it online, which is what I do. It's cheaper. But it's a great food source for birds that like insects. I've had bluebirds come. I've had a northern flicker that was just here yesterday. It'd be really awesome if they came back today. But they want these insects that you can't find, especially when the ground's covered in snow. Also a great source of food. Helps get these small birds through the cold nights. I've already got the birds back behind me right here. I've got 3 juncos about 5 feet away from me behind me on my left. So if you're out here, you're quiet, and you just sit and be patient, the birds will come right back, especially when the conditions like this are really hard for them. They can't really find any food on the ground by themselves, so sprinkling some on the ground for them and they'll come right to it. Awesome. I'm really trying to tailor this video to beginners, so if you're just getting started into bird photography, you haven't done backyard bird photography before, I'm really trying to just give you some tips, make it easier for you. You don't need all this fancy equipment, especially in your backyard. If you get the birds accustomed to you feeding them, you set up your feeders in good spots, you'll be amazed at how close you can get to these birds and how much they'll trust you. Obviously it takes away some of the wild element of it, but practice makes perfect. And if you set up your feeders in good spots so you can get some good pictures, you can practice photographing a lot of different kinds of birds, then when you're out in the wild and you can have the opportunity to capture that a rare bird that you can only see out in the deep forest or the wetland or wherever the heck you are, doing photography back in the backyard that you can just do, there's no stress. That's how you make practice makes perfect. So right now I'm just set up, I'm just sitting back here, I'm talking normally, and I have about half a dozen dark-eyed juncos foraging on the ground. They're about 20 feet or so away from me. And when you set yourself up and start out, try to be a little bit farther away than where you want to be. So I am going to hopefully get a little bit closer to these birds. But right now I want to get them accustomed to me and just kind of realize that I'm not a threat. I have two beautiful male northern cardinals perched. Got one in the maple tree over here and one in the maple tree in front of me. Their bright red just stands out so much against the snowy background and the dark background of the trees in the back. So for me to get down on the ground. Because I've got a lot of birds on the ground right now. Oop. That I want to get. I have a house finch, male house finch, a beautiful purple chest, a bunch of juncos, and I also have a male cardinal down as well. So I'm going to just slowly, again, can't reiterate enough, just do it slowly. I have 3 male cardinals here. That is amazing. So I'm going to kind of make my way slowly to the back of the yard and try to get some pictures of some birds around the perimeter. Well, that's gonna be it for me today. The snow's pretty much stopped falling, and the birds have kind of moved on. They're actually perching up in the trees. I think they all got full and happy. So there's not much activity down around the feeders anymore. There's still some sparrows and juncos around, but I'm gonna pack it up. But if you haven't already, please hit that like button on this video, hit that subscribe button. It's really my goal for these backyard bird photography videos to just spread the awareness of the different kind of species that can come right to your backyard. There's a lot of people that might not put feeders out, and they just would be amazed with the amount of birds that can come to your yard if you just put a feeder out. So share this video with somebody you might know that maybe isn't able to put a feeder out or doesn't have a feeder out, and really just spread the awareness of the different kind of birds that are just all around us. We live in a pretty urban area in this state, but I mean still there's dozens of species that can come to your backyard, and I'm hoping that the appreciation, the understanding, and the love of nature that I have can hopefully kind of show through this video, and really the love of nature just starts in your backyard. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
You